Hello everyone, can you hear me? I'm audible to all.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. Okay, before going to start, just I want to confirm from your side. So, guys, are you aware with core Java concept? Just like basic variables, data type, conditional statement, looping. Yeah, please confirm.
Yes, Ashutosh.
Yes.
So everybody comfortable with basic concept, yeah? So if you are comfortable with basic concept, then we can start from OOPS directly. Conditional statement looping, I hope everyone aware with that. If you have anyone doubt, question, problem, so please confirm first of all. So I will start from that. And one more thing, everyone have JDK in your system and Eclipse ID. Make sure everyone have JDK and Eclipse in your system. And you can do practice parallelly. So I will implement all those concepts so you can implement parallelly in your system. So I hope everyone have JDK and Eclipse. You can confirm in chat also. If you have, you can just write yes. So please confirm everyone if you have JDK and Eclipse in your system. Okay, I'm sharing the screen. If you don't have, so please install the JDK 11. So I'm just confirming which version you have need to install. You have need to install JDK 11. At least JDK 11 you can install. JDK 11 and you require Eclipse ID. If you don't have Eclipse and JDK, so you have need to install Eclipse and JDK in your system. So please make sure everyone have installed the JDK and Eclipse in your system. So you can raise a ticket and you can install Eclipse and JDK in your system. Okay, so I'm just giving some basic high level structure idea and then we'll start object oriented programming. So everyone needs to open the Eclipse ID. So you are using the Eclipse ID to writing Java program. So here I have opened the Eclipse ID. So if you want to write any Java program, so how you can write? So first of all, you have need to create Java project. How you can create? You need to go to the file option, file menu. In the file menu, you have new, and here you need to select Java project. So first of all, go to the file, new. You can create guys everything parallelly. You can implement all practices parallelly. If you have any challenge, you can share the screen same time and you can ask. So create a Java project. So I giving the project just like September Java project. So let you can give any name. So here you need to create a Java project. It will ask to create a module. So you can uncheck. You have not required to create a module. Just create a Java project. In my system, I have Java 17. So this is a Java SE 17 version. Then you can click on next. Once you click on next, then you have option finish and then you can click on finish. So you can check here everyone, it creating one project. At the bottom you can check the progress bar. So just little bit you need to wait, and then it will create one project for you. Meanwhile, guys, you can create your project in your system also, and then check any challenge if you are facing, you can share the screen same time. Who don't have a Eclipse and JDK in your system, meanwhile, please raise a ticket and install the JDK and Eclipse in your system. So here I have created one project. You can check here. Project name is a September Java project. Now, once you expand this project, under this project, we have SRC folder. Actually, SRC folder what contains? It contains all the source files. Whatever Java source file we have required to create, all the source file we have need to place under the SRC folder of our project. So select the SRC folder, right click on the SRC folder, you can right click SRC folder, and you have option new. From new you need to select a class if you want to create a class. So in Java, you know, everything needs to be present inside a class. So first of all, we need to create a class. So I'm creating here class. I give the class name like demo. Inside the class, we have need to define main method. So this is a main method, public static void main. So just click on this checkbox and now finish. So it will create one class with name demo. Now demo class contain one main method. And now I'm just simply display hello world. If you want to display anything on the console in Java, you have system.out.println. So in Java system.out.println, using system.out.println, we can display anything on the console. So suppose I want to display hello world. So just write down within double quote, and within double quote, whatever you are writing, it will display same thing. Just save this file, and here you have run button. You can click on run. Now once you have run it, you can check here in the console, it will display hello world. So now what is the output come? Hello world. So in this way, you can create a project and you can create a class, and inside the class, you can write a program. I hope it's clear till here, guys, everyone, how we can create a project. It's clear to all, and please respond everyone. If you have any questions, any doubt, if you're not able to understand anything, please immediately ask. Okay, so I'm assuming everyone aware with basic concept, variables, data type, conditional statement, and looping. I'm going to start directly from the OOPS concept. What is the OOPS? What is the object-oriented programming in Java? So to understand the object-oriented programming, first of all, we need to understand, guys, in the object-oriented programming concept, object and class. First of all, we need to understand the object and class concept. What is the object? Anyone know what is the object? What is an object? Object, we can say object means object is a very key points in object-oriented programming language. An object is anything. If you look around right now, whatever you will find out, each and everything object. Just like your table, your desk, your mobile, yes, no, your laptop, you anything that physically exists in this world, that is called an object. Anything that exists physically in this world, that is known as an object. So object may be living and non-living thing is not matter, but anything that can be described in this word is known as object. We can say real world entity is also called as a object. So object means anything that can be described. Or we can say simple term, anything which physically exists in this world is known as an object. Object may be living thing and non-living thing. So each and everything in this world is not act as an object. So just like suppose you can check here, guys. Here this is a Mary, yes, no. So this is a Mary. This is also object. marry is an object. Okay, which type of object we will discuss later on, but marry is an object. If you want, if anything is an object form, so object can have state and behavior, guys. Actually, how you did know information about an object? Just like understand. Suppose you have one mobile object. Suppose you have one mobile object. If you want to know some information about that mobile object, how you can know? Suppose this is a mobile object. Let me understand. Mobile object. So mobile has several features, yes, no? Like price feature, color feature, company feature, company property. So these are properties that are associated with mobile object. Using this property of mobile, we can know the information about mobile object, price, color, and company. So how did you know the information about mobile object? Using these are attributes. So these are called as attribute, properties, or characteristics, or we can call as a state which contain the information about an object. So if you want to know some information about in this mobile object, how you can know? You can know using their attributes. A mobile object can have several attributes which contain different type information. Like price inform attribute contain information, price information for mobile, color attribute contain the color information for a mobile, and company attribute contain the company name information of the mobile. So which information exactly you want to know, you can know that information using that properties. So it means objects are associated with attributes, a characteristics, or we can call it a state. So price is in a state of a mobile object. Color is a state of an object. So object can have attributes which contain the information of an object. And now object can have behavior also. What is a behavior? Behavior, just like suppose you have a mobile. Using mobile, what you can do? Using mobile, you can perform calling operation. So calling is an operation, action that can be done through you mobile object. Calling not contain any information about that object. Calling act as a verb, we can say. So behavior act as a verb. Verb denoting the action. So behavior denoting the actions, it means the action which can be done by an object. So what action can be done? Calling is an action. It means using mobile you can perform calling operations, SMSing operations. So these are behavior that can be done by an object. So what is the behavior of an object, guys? The behavior of an object means the action that can be done by an object is known as behavior of an object. So object in this word, object can have state and behavior. State contain the information about an object, and behavior is denoting the action that can be done by an object. Okay, so what is a class then, guys? Let's understand class. Before going to understand the class, let's understand one example. Suppose you want to build a house, guys. If you want to build a house, before building the house, you have required, guys, what required? You have required one plan. You required one map. It means what does map, guys? Map actually basically contains the idea and structure. Yeah, we can see a logical model to build an object. How you can build an object? Using that map, based on that structure, you can build an house. So house, actually we can say it is the actual implementation of this map. In the map, just you define the structure, just blueprint you're defining which type house needs to be constructed, what the logical model you require to build a house. So map just is a logical entity. It's not as just physically, just you design idea, your plan we can say to build a house. But house has a physical entity. So we can say house act as an object where map act as a class. So what is a map, guys? Map is nothing. Map is a logical model for building a house. Similar, you can say if you talk about class in Java, class is also nothing. Class is a logical model, or we can call as a blueprint, or we can call as a logical structure. Class just similar to the map, we can say, which contain the structure and plan, we can say, for building an objects. So physical form having the object and logical entity is a class. So we can say class is a logical entity which define the structure, a logical structure for building an object. Which type object needs to be constructed? Object guys, what content? Object contains properties and behavior. So if any object, just like in this word, you have seen, just like suppose if you're saying animal type object, suppose you're saying cow is an animal, cow is an animal. So a cow is an object of which type? Animal type. Why we are calling cow is an animal type object? Because cow features, cow object feature belongs to the which class? Animal. So animal is not any physical entity. Animal is a prototype. Which type object you can call as a animal? The object which contains animal type features, all those objects we can call as a animal type. Once you define map, yes, so based on that map, guys, you can build n number of house. You can construct n number of house based on that same structure. Similar, you have animal class. Based on that animal, you can have n number of animal objects. Cow, buffalo, dog, yes, and so on. So class is nothing. Class we can say is a blueprint of an object. Class used to define the logical model for creating the object. Class is a logical entity where object is a physical entity. So we are going to work with object-oriented programming language. Object-oriented programming language allowed to work with real-world entity. I hope it's clear to all guys. If you have any question, please immediately ask. So how you can define a class, guys? Actually, you can define a class. If you want to define a class, you can use the class keyword in Java. And then after class, you can define the name of the class. You can give any name of the class, whatever you want to give, name of the class. And then curly braces open and close. So this is a class opening and this class is closing. Inside the class, you can define all the properties and behavior. Class we can say contains common attributes and common behavior for all of an object. Class basically got contains attributes and behavior. It contains data members and data methods. Common data member and data methods. It's clear to all? Just like suppose guys, I have defined one class animal. So once you're writing animal, so animal is a what is guys? It is a type. So here we creating one user defined type. Which type? Animal type. So we have one animal type. Now suppose we define a person class. So how you can define class? Person. So you have another type is a person. So after class, you specify the name of the class that used to define the user defined type. Here we can say one category. Yes, no? Okay, we have one person type and animal type. So which type object we can call as animal type? The object which are belonging the animal class feature, that object you can call as an animal type. And the object which belonging the containing the feature of the person class, those object you can call as a person. So using class keyword, after class keyword, whatever class name you are mentioned, that class name used to specify the user defined type. Here we creating one user defined type. So let's understand guys, I'm going to create one class here under our package customer class. Understand how we can create class and class keyword. So you can check here. Here we created one class customer. So it means I'm going to create one user defined type customer type. So which type object we can call as a customers? So class basically what contains? Class contain the common features, common attributes and behavior of an object. So customer can have what attributes, what behavior, guys? We need to identify and we need to define inside the class based on our requirement. So let's suppose customer can have customer ID and customer name. So how we can define attribute? We can define attribute for an object using the variable. So inside the class, I defining one property int. I give the name like customer ID, and second property I'm defining customer name. So string customer name, customer name. So you can check it guys. Here we define one class. Inside the class, I have defined two properties, customer ID and customer name. These are properties, these are variables we are defining where guys? we are defining these are variable inside the class directly and outside any method, a block, a constructor. So remember this point, if you define any variable inside the class directly, but outside the method, a block is known as instance variable. So such type variable is called as an instance variable. Which type variable is called as a guys instance variable? Which
Which
type
are
variable is called as a? Yeah, tell me.
which are defined in the class but outside the method.
Yes, that variable is called as an instance variable. The variable that you are defining inside the class but outside the block. Instance variable is known as a object level variable. This means for instance variable, memory will be allocated whenever instance of the class is created, and memory will be destroyed whenever instance of the class is destroyed. For instance variable, a separate copy will be created for each instance. So instance variable is known as object level variable. It means it contains information for an object. So I have defined one class customer, and customer can have two property, customer ID and customer name. So if you want to access customer class feature, how you can access guys? Suppose I define another class customer tester. I'm selecting the main method here. Inside customer class, customer tester, I want to access customer class feature. Customer contain two type feature, customer ID and customer name. Based on your requirement, you can define a number of properties. But right now, I'm just defining two property, customer ID and customer name. Customer is a different class and customer tester is a different class. Now inside customer tester, I want to access customer class features. How we can access guys? Can you access directly here? Just like customer ID? You can't access, you can check here. You can't access. If you try to access, you will get the error. Yes, you know. If you want to access class features, so you can access class feature. First of all, you have need to create the instance of that class. Once you have created the instance of the class, then you can access this class feature. Okay, so how we can create the instance? If you want to access the feature of a class, yes or no? So we can access the feature of the class only by using the creating the instance of the class. So if you want to create the instance of the class, let me understand how we can create the instance, how we can create the object of a class. So check here guys, I have here one class, customer class. I have one class here, customer class. Customer ID, customer name. So if you want to create the instance of any class, so you can create the instance of any class using new keyword. Which keyword? Using new keyword. I'm using new keyword. You can use new keyword, and after new keyword, you can specify the class name. Class name followed by parenthesis. So using new keyword, we can create the instance of the class. Which class object you want to create? New, and then write the class name. Suppose I want to create the customer class object, you can write new customer. What happened when you create the instance for a class? When you create the instance of a class, in the background, what happened? In the background, it will create one memory. It will create one instance. Once you create the instance, it will create the instance for all the instance variable that you have declared inside the class. So it means how many instance variable you have declared guys here? Two instance variable, customer ID and customer name. So when you create the instance of the class, it will allocating instance means allocating the memory for all instance variable. So now one instance is created with two property, customer ID and customer name. One instance is created with two property, customer ID and customer name. One instance is created. And now suppose this instance having the memory address. Now this memory, suppose I'm having some memory address. We are assuming memory address is 1000. After creating the instance of this class, Now this line what does, guys? This line actually what does? It will return the reference of that memory. So one thing, guys, suppose you have 10 value. This is a which type value? Integer value. If you want to store this value, you require to declare one variable integer type. So here you declare one int a. A is a variable which type, guys? Integer type. If you declare string s, s is a variable which type? String type. But here we declare one variable customer. Customer is also type, but it is a user defined type. I'm writing C. So C is a variable which type? Customer type. And now this customer type can have two type property, customer ID and customer name. It can hold two type different information, customer ID and customer name. So class name is also is a type, user defined type. So here we declare customer C. C is a variable which type? Customer type. So customer type variable can hold which type of value? Customer type. I'm writing new customer. This is a customer type object. So customer type object can be held by the customer type variable. So once you create the instance, this line actually what return? It return the reference of that memory. It return the reference of memory. So we require which type variable to hold that memory. So we have created which type object? Customer type. So we require which type object variable? Customer type, customer C. So I'm declare here customer type variable. So after creating this instance, now it will return the reference of that memory. Suppose this memory address is 1000. Now C is a variable which type? Customer type. But it hold what hold, guys? It hold the reference of that memory. What is the reference of this memory? 1000. What the reference of this memory? 1000. 1000 the address of this memory. Now it means C is a variable, is a customer type which is holding. Okay, give the name like C1. Suppose I give the name like C1. C1 is a variable which type? Customer type. C1 is a variable which type, guys? Customer type. Now this C1 what hold, guys? C1 hold the reference, not value. It contains the address of any memory. So the variable which containing the address of any memory, that variable is known as reference variable, guys. Any variable which containing the address of any memory, that variable is known as a reference variable. So C1 is a reference variable which containing the address of any memory. Which containing the address of any memory. The variable which containing the address of any memory is known as reference variable. So C1 is not contain value, C1 contain the reference. So the variable which contain the reference of any memory, that variable we can call as a reference variable. So C1 act as a reference variable which pointing to that memory. It containing the address of which object memory? This memory. So now this memory can be referred by C1 variable. So here we have created one customer object. Now this customer instance will be referred by C1. So if you want to access the feature of this customer instance, you can access using that reference variable. So this memory will be referred by which variable? C1. So using that C1, you can access this memory feature. How you can access, guys? Go to the customer tester class, create the customer class object. So I'm creating the customer class object customer. How we can create, guys? So let me here we create customer equal to new customer. Once you create the instance, what happened in the background? It will allocating the memory for all instance variable. Now this memory will be we are holding into which variable? C1. So what I want to access, guys? I want to access, you can check customer ID. So within double quote, I'm writing customer ID equal. In Java, within double quote, if you're writing anything that is treated as a string type value. And then if you are using plus operator, and then here you're writing any variable name. Just like I am trying to access customer ID. You can check using reference variable, you can access that object feature. I want to access which property of that object? Customer ID. How you can access? C1.customer ID. So within double quote, if you're writing anything that is treated as a string value in Java, if you in plus operator, if you are using with string, that used for concatenation, it will concate the value. If you are using plus operator, if one of the operand is a string type, then it will concate, then it will not add. So with customer ID, we are concatenating with this message, we are concatenating this variable value. So you can check here, guys, you have created the customer instance, and now then you are accessing the customer ID and customer name. You are accessing the customer ID and customer name. Customer name equal plus customer one dot customer name. So I'm accessing here customer ID and customer name. If you run it, you can check here, guys, what happened. If you run it, you can check here, you will get 0 and null. Why? Actually, you have created the instance, object is created, but you have not initialized the value into the customer ID and customer name. Okay, object is created, but object is not initialized. What means object initialization, guys? Object initialization means setting the value into the instance variable. Here we have two instance variable, customer ID and customer name. So how we can initialize? Let's understand. So I want to set value in which property of customer one. So how you can access property of customer one? Using reference value customer one dot customer ID equal. This is assignment operator. What value we want to assign? 101. And then I want to assign value into customer name of customer one. So customer one dot customer name equal to, I'm writing suppose John. Now I have created instance. Now in this instance, what is the customer ID? In this customer ID of that instance, I'm assigning value 101 and name value John. Now object is created and object is initialized. So this line used for object creation, guys. This line used for object creation. Yes or no? Object creation. Object creation. And this line used for object initialization. For object initialization, we can say. Object initialization. This line are used for object initialization, customer ID and customer name. And this line used for object displaying the detail. Yes, no? Object details. Yes, no? If you want to display the object details. So this line used for print the object details. This line used for object initialization. How many instances you have created, guys? How many instances you have created? Please confirm. How many instances you have created, guys? Hello. Hello.
One instance.
Yeah, only one. Yeah, only one instance I have created. Yes, no? We have created one instance which has two property, customer ID and customer name. Okay, let me suppose I want to create one more instance. If you want to create one more instance, then how you can create? If you want to create one more instance, so whenever you want to create new instance, it's very simple. Just you need to write new customer. Whenever you write this line, what happen? It will create always new memory, new instance. So now again, new memory will be allocated for customer ID and customer name. What happened? A new memory will be allocated for customer ID and customer name. So it means for instance variable, a separate copy, separate memory will be allocated for each instance. So one more instance is created which also having the customer ID and customer name. Let's I give the name C2. Now we are assuming this memory address of this customer 2000. Now C2 what holding? C2 holding this customer memory address. Now C2 is pointing which memory? C2 is pointing to this memory. Let's C2 pointing to that memory. So what the customer ID, guys? Customer ID, we have not we have created the instance. We have not initialized this instance. So I have created one more instance. So let me create one more instance. Customer 2 equal to new customer. I have created one more instance. Now customer 2. So here there are two instances. If you want to initialize the customer 2 again, how you can initialize customer 2? How you can access customer 2 ID? Customer 2 dot customer ID. Now which customer ID? Customer 2. And now customer name, customer 2 dot customer name. What the name? Harry. So let me display the object detail. Customer 2 dot customer 2 ID and name. Now let's run it. Now customer ID 102 and customer name Harry. So here you can check here, guys. I have customer class. We have defined just two properties. You can define a number of property based on the requirement. If you define here two property, you can check here, guys. So for two property for one instance, guys, you can check here. You need to define two line for object initialization and two line for object details. It means there are 4 lines of code we required for object initialization and displaying the object detail for one object. Suppose you created 1000 objects, it means 4000 line of code you have required only for object details, object initialization and object details. That is not good approach. You can check here, this is a common activity, guys. Yes or no? This is a common activity. I want to initialize an object, object initialization detail, yeah, object displaying the detail. Yes, no? This is a common activity. So this is not a good approach. So what I'm going to do is, so go to the customer class. Suppose I want to display the object details. Which object, guys? You can check it. You are writing the similar type of code for each object for displaying the object detail. Yes, no? So class what contains, guys? Common features and common behavior. Behavior you can define using the method in Java. So here inside class, let me define one method, public void display customer detail. Display, I give method name like customer details. I'm defining one common method inside the class. So inside this class, I'm writing the object displaying code. So I'm writing the object displaying details, just like I want to display customer ID equal plus customer ID. And now customer name equal plus customer name. Okay, spelling is wrong. Customer name. I'm displaying the customer name. This is a common activity. Please ask if you have any question. Okay, now in this customer class, I have defining one functionality. Let me create one more class, tester class, customer tester 2. Now, I have created the object, I have initialized the object, but after initializing the object, if you want to display the object details, so instead of printing each field, So which object detail you want to display? Customer one. So on customer one, you can call one method display customer details method. So this is the behavior that you have defined inside the customer class. So this behavior will be invoked by right now, as of now, which object invoking this behavior? As of now, customer one invoking this behavior. Now control go to the customer class, and now this method will get executed. And now it will display the customer detail for which customer? It will display the customer detail for customer one, because which object is invoking this behavior? Customer one invoking the behavior of this object. So it will display customer one detail. Similar, I'm removing this line of code. If you want to display customer two detail, so I'm writing just customer two dot which method display customer details. Just call this method. You have not required to write similar type of code for customer type. Just call this method. This method what contains? It contains the logic for displaying corresponding customer details. Now it will display which customer detail. Now it will display the customer two detail, because which customer invoking this method? Now customer two invoking this method, it will display the customer two details. So that is a good practice, yes, no? So if you suppose if you have a common logic, similar type logic for all instances of a class, more better define a behavior inside the behavior, define that functionality, and on which object you have required that functionality, you can call that functionality on that object. I hope it's clear. Yeah, Prasad Patil, have you any questions? Hello.
Hello, yes, Ashutosh.
Yes.
For we initialize the object in customer tester
Yes.
class. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Instead of this, if we declare that in customer class only,
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
right approach?
Yeah. That part I'm going to discuss next part. Okay. Just.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, so here you can check here. I am writing common functionality inside a class. I define one functionality, and that first, what is the role of this functionality? This behavior, this functionality is used to display the customer detail. But now here you can check here, guys. Once you create an instance, after creating the instance, you have need to perform object initialization activity for an instance. This is also common activity, we can say. Because suppose you have created n number of instances, each for each instance you need to perform suppose object initialization activity. So if you write initializing the object in this way, it means right now you have two properties, means for one object, two line for initialization. If you created 1000 object, it means 2000 line code only for initialization. But suppose object having 10 property, and then number of lines of code you require for object initialization. That is not good approach. So here for object initialization means you need to supply some value, and that value you need to set into the instance variable. So I'm going to the customer class. In the customer class, I'm going to define one method just like public void init method. And now you can give any name, your choice. I just giving a meaningful name, init method. Now inside the init method, we are going to write the object initialization activity. So I want to initialize object. Object initialization means initializing the value of instance variable of a class. So here two instance variable customer ID. So this method we need to make as a parameterize, because it requires two value from the user, and now using that parameter we are initializing the instance variable. So here we have defined one method which take two parameter CID and CNAME. These are local variable, these are parameter. This is not part of an object, but these are instance variable which is the object level pro. So I want to initialize which instance property value customer ID using which parameter CID. So whatever CID parameter contain value, that value we are dumping into the customer ID. Similar for customer name. Customer name we are initializing with CNAME. Now go to the customer tester, guys. And now suppose after creating the instance, you need to initialize the object. After creating the instance, you need to initialize the object. So what you need to do? You have not required to individually individual field you are not required to initialize. Whenever you need to initialize, just call the method, init method here we define for customer initialization. Call the method, supply the value. Suppose I'm supplying 101 and name suppose like John. This means I want to initialize customer 1 with value 101 and John. Now control go to the customer class. Now init method gets invoked. Init method will receive two value. CID value is CNAME. In CID it will receive 101 and CNAME it will receive John. Now it will initialize customer ID instance variable with CID and with customer name with CNAME. Similar, go to the customer tester 2. I want to initialize which instance customer 2. So remove this line of code. I'm writing customer 2. On the customer 2, I'm just calling the which method guys, init method, and passing the property customer ID and customer name. Suppose 102 and Harry. Now I want to display the customer 2 details. So customer 2 dot, which we need to call which method, display customer details. So for each action, more better, yes, no, identify your requirement activity. For that activity, define one method inside a class, and on which object you want to perform that activity, you can call that method on that object. So this is a customer 1 detail, this is a customer 2 detail. I hope it's clear, guys. Now, which one is approach is better, first one or second? It's clear or not clear?
Second approach.
Second. Yes, no? Because in the first approach, yes, no, if you are developing a small application, a small class, then okay. But once you are working with real life, yes, no, you are facing lot of challenges. Okay, one more thing we are trying to understand that. I'm suggesting to all, please try to implement, because I'm discussing each and everything through practical. So lot of hands-on we are discussing. I'm not focusing lot of theory part. I'm simply focusing on lot of hands-on part. But using hands-on, we are explaining all the theory concept. Okay, go to the customer tester, guys. I'm asking one question to you. Please confirm everyone. At the line number 6, what denoting, guys? Line number 6 denoting object creation. Yes, no? So you are initializing the object at the time of creation or after creating the object? When you are initializing the object? After creating or at the time of creation? After creating, yes, you know, guys, once you have created the object, and after creating the object, you are calling the init method. Once you call the init method on that reference variable, then you are initializing the object. It means object creation and object initialization activity is happening in two steps. Yes, you know. In first step, first of all, you have created instance. In the second step, we are performing object initialization activity. I'm right, guys?
Yes.
Yep. But now my requirement is changed. My requirement, okay, object creation initialization, I want to perform at the same time. But my point, once we have created the object, immediately I want to initialize an object. This means I want to perform object initialization activity at the time of object creation. So you can check here, guys. Here you are performing object initialization activity. Object initialization activity after creating the object. Where you are defining the object initialization activity, you are defining object initialization activity inside init method. Init is a user-defined method which contains the object initialization activity. Now, my requirement, this object initialization activity needs to be executed automatic whenever instance of the class is created. If you want to perform any activity at the time of object creation, then where we need to place that activity? So if you want to perform any activity at the time of object creation, that activity should be placed inside a constructor. So constructor is the best place if you want to execute any activity at the time of object creations, then we should go for constructor. Because constructor gets executed automatic whenever instance of the class is created. So constructor in Java, constructor is a special method. What is a constructor, guys? Constructor is a special method. Why we are calling it special method? Because constructor name must be similar to the class name. Just like you defining any method in Java, how you can define return type and method name. But if method name can be any user defined name. But in case of constructor, constructor name must be similar to the class name. What the class name, guys? What the class name?
Customer.
So constructor is also method, but we are calling it special method because its name similar to the class name. And second thing, guys, before method you need to mention the return type, but before constructor you don't need to mention the return type, even void also. And now method will not invoke implicitly, guys. Method will invoke when you call the method, but constructor will invoke implicitly whenever instance of the class is created. Whenever instance of the class is created, constructor will invoke implicitly. You can check and verify. So here I've created one constructor with 0 parameterized. So let's here we defining constructor calling. I'm just writing statement. Go to the custom. I am creating one more class, customer tester 3. And removing all this line of code. Now you can check here, guys. I have just created the instance. You can check here. I have just created the object, but I'm not calling anything. I am not invoking anything. Just have created the instance. If you run this application, what happened? You can check here, guys. Constructor is called. Constructor will invoke automatic. Yes, no? This means if you want to perform any activity at the time of object creation, the best place is constructor, because constructor will invoke automatic every time whenever instance of the class is created. So here I have created one more instance. So how many times constructor will invoke? 2 times. Why? Because constructor will invoke every time whenever new instance of the class is created. Constructor we are calling a special method because constructor name must be similar to the class name. And now when we should go for constructor, guys, if you want to perform any activity at the time of object creation, then we should go for constructor, because constructor gets invoked automatic at the time of object creation. Constructor also known as special method because constructor name must be similar to the class name. I hope my point is clear when we should go for constructor. Now, second point, constructor are 2 types, guys. In Java, we have constructor are 2 types. How many types of constructor? 2 types. One is a default constructor. Second one is a user-defined constructor. What means of default constructor? Let me explain. I'm defining here class. I'm giving the class name, suppose person. Okay. In this person class, let me declare several properties. In int a, suppose variable int, and float b, string c, and boolean d. Okay. This is a person class. Let me create one more class, person tester. Person tester. So you can check here, guys. You have created person tester class. In the person class, you have just declared the properties. You have not defined any constructor. What happens once you not define a constructor? So if you create the person class object person, how you can create person p equal to new person. Now I want to access what all the property. This out p dot a, p dot b, p dot c, and p dot d. You can check it, guys. Once you run it, you will get some 0, 0 point, null, false. For integer, actually, it produces default value. What happened? Understand. If once you define a class, inside the class you define a instance variable. Once you run this class, compiler will check whether any constructor is present inside person class or not. Any user defined constructor. If there is no constructor available, then compiler will provide it one system generated constructor. System generated zero parameterized constructor. That constructor is known as default constructor. And initialize all the instance variable with the default value. So for integer default value 0, for float default value 0.0, for string default value is null, for boolean default value is 0 false. That's why you can check here, guys. Here you will get the default value. So if you don't define any constructor, then compiler will provide system generated constructor and this is like all the instance variable with default value. But guys, go to the customer class. Suppose if you define a constructor, user defined constructor means the constructor which are defined by the user. User defined constructor may be parameterized and may be non-parameterized. Default constructor are always zero parameterized. But user defined constructor may be parameterized and non-parameterized. If user define any constructor, then compiler won't provide any system generated constructor. So here we define one constructor, but here I want to perform object initialization at the time of object creation. So I'm define one parameterized constructor. So in this customer constructor, I require two parameters, guys. You can check here in this way, you can think here. I define init method, yes or no? So init method, inside init method, you're defining object initialization activity. But I'm going to place that initialization activity inside a constructor. Now this constructor will take two parameters, customer ID and customer name. Now using this parameter, we are writing object initialization activity inside. Customer ID we are initializing with CID and customer name we are initializing with CNAME. Let me comment this method. Okay, I'm creating one customer tester class. Now, customer tester, guys, you can check here. Once you define a here we define parameterized constructor. Inside the constructor, we're writing the object initialization activity. Now go to the customer tester 3, guys. In customer tester 3, you can check when you're going to create customer class object. If class contain parameterized constructor, you can say this is a constructor. So at the time of creating the instance, you need to supply those constructor value. So now your class requires two parameters, constructors. So I'm passing customer ID and customer name. So when you're going to create the instance, at that time of creating the instance, you need to supply those value. So you can check here, guys. Here you have created customer 1 and customer 2. So once you create an instance, this is the object creation in line. At the same time, object will be initialized. It means object creation and object initialization will be happening at the same time. Now, how many steps are required, guys? Now you require only one step. In single step, object will be created and object will be initialized. Now, customer one dot here we have one method display customer details. Now, once you create object, object is ready to use, and after that you can use that object. That is a more better approach, yes, no? Because once you create the object, immediately object will initialize and you are ready to use. Now you can check it, guys. Now object is created and now you are ready to use the object. You can check a customer ID 101 and customer name.
Ashutosh, I have one doubt.
Yeah. Yes, you please ask.
In customer class, you define the constructor with public access specifier now. But
Yes.
before that, it is not there. So it is
Okay.
means what is the significance of that?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what means actually this is the access modifier? Yes, no? Public, private. In Java, I will just explain. We have 4 type access modifier: public, private, protected, and default. Okay, let me discuss that. So there are 4 access modifier: public, private, and protected. Okay. And one more, default. For default, there is no keyword need to be used. If you declare suppose any property or any behavior, anything, just you declare without any access modifier. So by default, access modifier for that default, because for default there is no keyword need to be used. So here if you not mention public, it means what is the access modifier for that constructor? Default. So what is the default member? Yes, no. What is a public member? What is a private member? What is a protected member? Let's understand, guys, what meaning of this public, private, protected. To understand public and private protected more, we need to understand one more point: package system. Did you know what is a package in Java? Package is nothing just like a folder. Package is nothing just like a folder. Just like you have created one folder in your system to arranging your file. Similar, we can say package is a collection of classes interface to arranging the classes. So package just like a folder. So you can create a package in Java. Inside the package, you can place a classes. Suppose here we have created 2 packages. Now here we have created 2 package, guys. I give the package name P1 and now another package is a P2. There are 2 packages. In P1 package, I have defined one class C1, guys. And C2 class I'm defining in the same package. And now we have C3 class in which package is available? P2 package. And C4 class is available in which package, guys? C2 package. So tell me here, C1 and C2 belongs to same package or different package? C1 and C2 class belong to the same package or different package?
Same package.
Same.
Same package. Okay. Let's I declare some member inside C1 class. Int A, second one public, suppose int B. Now public int C. Sorry, not public, private. Understand properly. And I'm defining protected int D. These are member is a part of which class, guys? C1 class. I'm actually access specifier denoting the visibility of members. Yes or no? These member can be accessible where? Okay. Now suppose, guys, I want to access a member inside C2 class. Can we access? Can we access inside
Yes.
C2? Yes. Why? Because its visibility is its access modifier default. So if you not mention any keyword, for default there is no keyword need to use. Default member can be accessed, guys, within a class or within a package. Within a package, any class can access those members. So you can access is a valid. Can you access public member? Public member can be accessible anywhere. Within a class, outside the class, within a package, outside the package, anywhere. You can access anywhere. Now, private member, guys, can you access private member here? Tell me,
No.
private member can? No. Private member can be accessible only within a class where you have declared. Because that is a private member. So just like you have several property, just like you have your job is a private for you, yes, no? No one can access your job, yes, no? Your mobile phone We can say it is a protected, not private, because you and your family member can use. Yes, no? So private means more secure. This means the member that not needs to be accessible outside the class. Only within a class you can access. Those member you need to declare as a private. So you can't access here. Protected you can access, guys. Yeah, protected within a class and within a package you can access. Okay. Okay, now we move to the C3 class. I'm trying to access this member in C3 class. So tell me, guys, C3 class is belongs to the same package or different package?
Different package.
Can we access A here? Can we access
Yes.
A?
No.
Why? A is a default member. Default means default member can be accessible only within a package level. Outside the package, you can't access. Got it my point? Any member is a default. Default member means package level private, we can call it. So within a package, any class can access. All the classes can access that member which is available in the same package. But outside the package, default member can't be accessible. Public you can access? Yes, you can access. Private, guys, private you can access. And sorry, can't access. Yes, no, private only accessible within a class. Private member you can't access in other class which is belong to the same package. Protected can you access, guys? Here, tell me, protected can you access here? You can't
No.
access. Why? Protected
Yeah,
where
because
you can access.
it's within
Tell
the package only we can add within the
within a
class.
package,
Yeah.
and outside the
And
package you can access protected member, but only you can access once you have some relation. Just like suppose C2 class is inheriting the C1 class. C2 is a child class of C1. Both are belong different package. But C2 is a child. Can you access A, guys? Here A you can't access because this is a default member. B you can access. B you can access anywhere because this is a public. Yes or no issue. Private you can't access. But default now you can access. Now you can access default. Sorry. Protected you can access here. Protected now you can access. Why? Because protected member, guys, remember this. Protected member can be accessible within a package, any class, or in other package you can access if that class is the child class. If they having parent-child relationships, then you can access. Otherwise, you can't access. Now it's clear how many total access modifier, guys, in Java? There are 4 access modifier: public, private, protected, and default. Default member can be accessible only within a package. Public member can be accessible anywhere. That is a private member can be accessible only within a class. And protected, clear, guys, or not clear? Any question?
Shutosh, I have one question.
Yes,
So
please.
protected, we have. Can you go back to that diagram?
Yeah. Are you able
Yeah,
to see diagram?
Yeah. So protected variable can be accessed, called via inheritance, right? We have to extend
Yeah.
the class.
Yes.
What about in C3 class? We can extend.
C3, yeah. C3 is not inheriting. Yes, no, C1 class. Right now, C3 is not a child of C1, and C3 is belongs to different package. C1 is belongs to different package, and C1 and C3 doesn't having any parent-child relationship. Yes, you know. So in C3 class, we can't access protected member. We can't access the protected member. If you try to access, you will get error.
Okay, so protected access modifier can be called in other package by using inheritance. That's
Yes,
what.
only inheritance. If they
Got it.
have inheritance, then you can access. Otherwise, you can't access.
Okay, thank you.
Got it? So I hope it's clear. So sometimes sometimes here we are writing public, sometimes I'm not writing. So that point is clear. If you're not writing, then access modifier becomes default. Yes, you know. So default members, yes or no? Within a package you are accessing, you can access anywhere. Yes, you know. I hope it's clear now.
Yes.
Now, so constructor basically one question, है ना? Actually in Java, every concept. Before understanding the concept also, yeah, after understanding the concept, we need to understand that point also when and where we need to use which concept. That is a very important. So basically, what is the use of the constructor? Anyone can just explain? Basically, when we need to use the constructor. And inside the constructor, which type logic we have need to place? You can place any logic, not matter, na? It's not complaining anything to you. But we need to follow some coding standards while writing the code. Actually, basically, constructor, the basic purpose of the constructor to initialize an object. So object initialization code basically we have need to place inside the constructor. Which type code we need to place? Basically,
Object initialization.
because once object is created, immediately we need to initialize an object. Yes, no? So basic purpose of the constructor to perform object initialization activity. I hope it's clear. Can I go ahead? If you allow to this, then I can go ahead.
Yes.
One more question. Here, I have declared how many instance variable?
2.
So what is the name of this instance variable?
Customer ID.
Customer ID. And this is known as local variable, yeah, parameter, yes or no? What the name? CID, yeah, you have given here, yes or no? But there might be chance you can take similar name, yes, you know? Yes, you know? It is possible or not possible?
Yeah, it is possible, but user may get confused with which value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here actually what problem? Yeah, you can instance variable name and local variable name is same. So here there is no error, yes, no? But within a block, if you're writing customer ID equal to customer ID, you are thinking, you are trying to initialize your instance variable value with your local variable.
Yeah.
But within a block, which one will be used? But how you can differentiate here? Which one is the instance and which one is the local? And now second question, within a block, it will give the preference to which one? Local या instance? It will give the preferences to the local या instance?
I think local.
Yeah, local. Why? Because if in real life also, suppose a person, one person having the global identity and one person having the local identity. But when you are in the local context, that local person having higher scope compared to global person. Yes, no? In the locally, that person having higher scope. So similar here, when you come into the constructor inside a constructor, in the local, it will give the preference to the local variable compared to global variable. Yeah, instance variable we can. So go to the customer tester 3. So you can check here. Here your object will not initialize because it will not able to insert the property. Because here it will uses the local variable value copying into the local variable. Then the problem is raising. So how we can overcome this problem? Okay, let's understand one more concept, how we can overcome this problem. So when you create the instance, suppose guys you have created one customer instance, yes or no? Now this customer instance suppose will pointing by which variable? C1 right now is pointing this customer instance. Now it having some memory address like 1000 suppose. Now I have created one more instance. So in Java actually, sorry, we have one keyword this. Okay, here C1 actually, C1 is called as reference variable. Why we are calling reference variable? Because it contains the address of any memory. Yes or no? In Java, we have one this. This is also we can call as a reference variable. Why? Because it also contains the reference of an object. But C1 just like contain the reference of which object? C1 contain the reference of which object? C1 contains the reference of this object. But this actually contains the reference of which object? So whatever currently you have created the instance, that instance reference automatic will capture by this. So this implicitly always pointing to the current instance of the class. So currently which instance you have created? This instance. So internally this also pointing to this object. So you can access this object detail using C1 and you can access this object detail using this because this is also currently pointing to this object. Suppose after some time you created one more object. So currently you have created which one object? C2 is a currently created object. Recently which object you have created? C2. Now which one is the currently you created object? C2. Now this what happened guys? This actually right now will disconnect this reference and will point this one object. So now if right now if you are accessing this dot customer name, which customer name you will get? This current object customer name you will get. So it means this always used to refer the current object of a class. So if you want to access current object detail, you can access using this. I will show here, then you will get more idea. Go to the customer tester 3. So you can check here guys, I have created, okay, let me comment this line right now. I have created one customer 1. Okay, if you want to display customer 1 property, yes, no? Which property you want to display? You can write reference variable name and then dot property name. But suppose I'm writing directly reference variable, then what happened? But I'm printing only reference variable name. If you're printing only reference variable name, you can check here what it will print. It will print in this way, class name at the rate some hexadecimal code. So suppose we are assuming this is a memory address, yes, no? What's the address of this memory? This one. Okay. Now go to the customer class. In the customer class, I'm defining one more method, public void print this method. Now inside this method, I'm printing this value, this equal plus this. Go to the person tester, customer tester 3. Okay. After printing customer 1, customer dot, I'm calling print this method also. So you can check here guys. And this in C1, what pointing? Same memory address is pointing or not? Pointing to the same memory, yes, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm pointing C2. I'm printing C2 reference. Customer 2 equal to plus customer 2. If you run it, you can check here guys. Customer 2, this one address. Let's we print customer 2 dot print this. Now you can check it. Now this is contain the reference of which object? Now this contain the reference of which object? Customer 2. So it means this is always pointing which one object? The object that you have created recently. Yes, no, currently whatever object you have created, that current created object always implicitly refer by this. So current object detail, current object you want to access detail, you can access using this within a class. I hope it's clear. So here you can check here in the customer class, I have defined constructor. In the constructor, instance variable and local variable name is same. So within a constructor, how we can differentiate which one is instance, which one is a local? You can differentiate using this, because this dot, if you're writing, this means reference variable. This means instance. Which instance? Current instance. It means it's saying customer ID of which one object? Current object, current customer object. So this dot customer name, which one customer name? Current object customer. So this is always used to point to the current instance of the class. So now within a constructor, if suppose local variable and instance variable name is same, then we can differentiate using this keyword. Go to the customer tester 3 and now you can uncomment, you can check here. Now you're able to display customer detail. Let's save it, run it. Now object is in slide. Yes, you know. Clear? Because now you are able to differentiate. If you're writing this dot customer ID, it means that is a instance variable. Without this, you're writing that is a local variable. So I hope it's clear what is the use of this.
Yeah, it's clear.
This is referred to use current instance. Can I go ahead? Anyone have any question? So please ask, otherwise I can go ahead. Have any question? Please confirm everyone.
No questions.
Okay. Okay, now we understand other thing, guys. Very important. So here you can check here. I define one class, customer class. Let me create one more class, customer tester 4. In this customer tester 4, okay, let me change this class also. Let me define one more class. Okay, customer tester 4. Let me change the person class. In this person class, I define one property, guys. Let's person ID. I'm assigning person ID and person name, and age property. This is a person class. Now go to the person tester. So you can check here. In the person class, you have defined this how 3 members. Yes, no? What the access modifier? This is a public. Yeah, sorry, default. Yes, no? By default, yes, no? Yeah, if you make a public, so you can make as a public. So I'm defining 3 public member inside the person class. So, sorry, go to the person tester. So whenever you require person class feature, simple way how you can access, guys, you need to understand all the approach. Just create the person instance. Person 1 equal to new person. Once you create the instance, then you can access. Yes, no? Which one member we require to access, guys? Person 1. Person 1, which member? Person ID. Suppose I'm setting person ID 101. I want to set the person age. So person dot age. Suppose the user can set any value. You don't have any control. Suppose I'm setting negative value. Now I'm person name. I'm setting name value. Suppose I'm setting John name. So one thing understand, guys, once you define a class, inside the class, whatever member you define, whatever property you're defining, if you declare those property as a public, so those property can be accessed anywhere, anyone can access, and you don't have any control on that property. Anyone can access, anyone can modify, anyone can set valid data, anyone can set invalid data into the property. Just like in the age, someone setting the invalid data, because negative value for the age is not a valid data. Negative value is the invalid data for age. And now suppose you are setting the person ID 101. Tomorrow, if you want to change the person ID, you can change. But my requirement, once we have created the person instance, at the time of creating the instance, whatever person ID you have initialized, then after that, no one allowed to modify the person ID. You can read the person ID and number of times, but you are not allowed to modify. Then how you can restrict it, guys? In this way, anyone can modify, anyone can read, you don't have any control. So how you can restrict it, guys? Suppose you're defining a constructor, yes, no? So using constructor, you can perform object initialization activity. Generate constructor using field. This means once you create the instance, that time you can initialize an object with the person ID 101, person name, suppose John, and person age, suppose whatever age. After creating and initializing the object, after that, suppose sometimes you need to modify the object state, you can modify. How you can modify? I modify the object state, person ID, person name. Suppose I modify the person ID 102. But what my requirement, guys? My requirement, once you create the person object, some property I record in only read mode, just like person ID. No one allowed to access the person ID. Anyone can access, but no one allowed to modify. Second thing, no one allowed to set the invalid data into the age value. So that is a very important. If you define the property inside the class, you don't have any control. Anyone can access anywhere. Anyone can set valid, invalid data. And anyone can read, anyone can write the property value. That is not a good approach. My requirement, I require some property only read mode, some property write mode. So how we can prevent it, guys? So once you define the property in the class, remember this one, guys. Make all those property as a private. Make all those property as a private. All property, make those all property as a private. Once you make those property as a private, it means now this property no one allowed to access outside the class. No one allowed to access those property. So now you don't have any control to access those property. If you try to access, you will get the error. You can check it. You don't have any control. Yes, you know, guys. Yes, you know.
Yeah, because we made it as we made this variable as private.
Yes. So you don't have any control. Yes, no. So it means once you create the person object, if you try to modify the person ID, can you modify? If you try to access, how you can modify? You don't have any control. Yes, no. If you
Yeah.
try to access, you can't access because you have make those property as a private. But suppose sometimes I want to change the age value because age value needs to be modified. Yes, no. Sometimes, yes, no. But you don't have a control. You can't access. Yes, no. Okay. one problem is resolved. Okay, once you make the property as a private, now no one allowed to access those property. But one more problem come into the picture. What? If no one allowed to access the property outside the class, then what is the use of those property? Yes, you know. Suppose tomorrow you want to know what person age. How you can know? Can you access? Suppose I want to know the person age only. What is the age of this person? So person one dot age. You try to access. You can't access. Yes, no. Then what is the use of this property? Yes, you know. It means once you make the property as a private, one more problem come into the picture. No one allowed to access this property outside the class. Then what's the use? No use. Yes, yeah, no. Then what we need to do?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So then what we need to do? Actually, once first of all, you need to declare all those property as a private. Once you declare all those property as a private, so no one allowed to access outside this property. But sometimes you require to access those property value. Then you need to provide getter and setter method. So here we understand public getter and setter method. What is a getter and setter, guys? Getter and setter is nothing, guys, just like it's a method. But we are calling as a getter and setter. Why we are calling? Because we are defining method, getter method for each property. Okay, understand. Suppose you have any property. You can read the property value, yeah, you can write the property value. So getter method used to access the property value, and using setter method, we can set the value into the property. So for just like suppose we have name property. For name property, I want to define a getter. How we can define? So getter and setter should be public, and getter method, setter method should be non-return type. And now I want to define setter method. What which property? Name property. So then you need to write set keyword. Set is not a keyword, but it is a standard to defining the getter and setter method. Set, and then write the property name. Which property? For which property I want to define setter? Name property. Set name. So name contain which type property value? String type. So I'm declare one parameter name. String name. Now using setter method, we can set the property value. Inside this method, we're writing the property initialization code. Set dot this dot name equal to name. Here local variable instance variable name is same. Then we can define local variable instance variable using this. So here you can check a set name is a public method which is used to set the name property value. Yes, you know. So outside this class, anywhere if you want to set the name property value, you can set the name property value using the set name method. Similar, you can define one getter method. So getter method always return type. Name is contain which type value, string type value. It will return which type value, string type, get name. I'm defining get name. Now using get name method, now I'm return name. So now it's returning the name property value. So whatever name contain the value, it will just return. So using get name method, you can get the name property value. So for each property, we need to define one getter and setter. So you can check here, once you define getter and setter, you have a control in your hand. This is a method where you're writing the initialization code, and here before initializing the property value, if you require any validation logic, you can validate and then you can initialize. Just like suppose I'm defining getter and setter, so you can generate getter setter directly also. I will just give here hint how you can generate directly. Right click, go to the source, and here we have generate getter and setter. Just select all the property and generate. You can check it. Here we are generating getter and setter. So you can check, guys. Here we setting the age value. Before setting the age value, based on our requirement, negative data for age is invalid data. So age value should be greater than suppose 18 and less than 15. And age value should not be negative. So if age value less than 0, age value, sorry, greater than 18. So you can write a condition, and age value should be less than 50. If this condition is matched, then only you need to initialize the age value. Yeah, you can say suppose my requirement, suppose only age is not, age value should be positive. If age value is positive, then age property value need to be initialized. So here you can write some logic, yes or no, before setting the value. So now you have a control. Suppose based on our custom logic, based on business requirement, Before going to set the property value, you can verify whether data is valid or not. If data is valid, then only set. Otherwise, don't set. And now, one more thing, guys. Just like person ID. So once we create the instance, whatever person ID we are setting, after that, no one allowed to modify the person ID. If you don't need to modify the person ID, it means property you require in read mode or write mode. If you require any property only read mode, then you need to define only getter for that property, not setter. So now you have a control in your hand. Sometimes you require property in read mode only. So you need to define only getter for that property, not setter. Sometimes you require property in both modes, read and write mode. Then you need to define getter and setter for both. Now you can check it, guys. Go to the person tester. Once you create the instance, you have a control. If you want to access person ID, how you can access, guys? You can check person one dot get person ID, getter method. Using getter method of person ID, you can access the person ID of person. Now you can check here. If you save it, what the person ID, whatever you have set, you can check 10. But you want to modify the person ID, can you modify for that person ID? You can check it. If you try to access directly field person dot person ID, you can't access. You don't have any setter. Yes, you know. It means you can't modify the person ID, just you can read. I hope it's clear my point.
It's clear.
So that is more better, yes, no? So that is a make a habit. Once you define the property, declare all those property as a private. And to provide the access property outside the class, define based on your requirement, public getter and setter. I hope it's clear what is a getter and setter. Anyone have any question? You can ask if you have any question. It's clear to all?
Ashutosh, if we want to set a value, like after we making private, right? So I can use this object person one and call that. Is it possible? Call that set person ID is not possible, right?
Actually, we are not
Can
defining. Yeah, we are not defining setter method for the person ID. Why? Because my requirement, I required person ID in only read mode. Once we create the instance for person, whatever person ID I'm setting, just like suppose once the Aadhaar number is generated for you, anyone is allowed to modify the Aadhaar number? No. Yes, no. You can read the Aadhaar number anytime. Yes, no. But no one allowed to modify the Aadhaar number. Yes, you know. So Aadhaar number property required in which mode? Read mode or read write both mode?
No, only read mode.
Only read mode. Yes, no. So it means for Aadhaar number you need to define only getter, not setter.
Okay, so setter will not be. I mean, it will not allow to set, right, for this.
Yeah. Because we are not defining. Yes, no. Because I require this property only which mode? Only read mode. That's why I'm defining only getter for that property, not setter for that property. I defining getter and setter for age. So you can set the age property value. Okay, right now you can check it. What is the age for that person? You can check your system out.println person one dot get age. Yes, no. What is the age value for that person? You have checked what is the age value? Check here 20. Yes, you know. But later on, suppose I want to modify this person age. So you have a chance because this age property you can modify because you have setter. Yes, no. I'm defined set of 50. And after that, again, you try to access percentage. So what the percentage now you will get?
50.
50 because you are allowed. Now you have modified the percentage. So it means you have allowed to modify the percentage. Percentage you can modify. Percentage we have not required in read mode only. It requires read and write both mode.
Correct. So once we set both read and write mode for the particular variable, then
Property.
we can
Yeah.
set. Yeah,
Yes.
I got it.
Got it. So it means for each property, we require one getter method for getting the property value, and we require setter method for setting the property value. Yeah, Prasad. Yeah.
Yeah, Ashutosh. So in this problem, we have basically only one requirement that our person ID should not be changed. So on this, we just put getter setter method on person ID only, and this name and age can be changed multiple time or can be get. So we will not create a getter setter method for these two variables. So is this possible? Means we
Yeah,
directly
everything is possible because this is in your head code. Yes, so what you requirement. If you not require getter setter for this property, you can remove. Yes, so your
yeah,
choice. This is your own business requirement. Yes, no. What your
yes,
requirement? Yes, no. Based on requirement, you need to define. This is a totally in your hand. Yes, you know.
yeah,
For
yeah,
which property you
right.
require getter setter? For which property only require getter? For which property only require setter? Yes, no. This is in your hand. You need to decide for which one we need to define. It's
Okay,
clear?
so after removing this, we can directly access as
No,
per
we can't
our.
access. We can't
Hmm.
access. Why? Because this property you have declared as a private. Yes, no. Private member you can't access. Yes, no. You can check
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
If you
private.
private member you can't access. This means you don't have. You are not allowed to access this property outside the class. You can't do anything with this property outside the class.
So we should make these two name and age as a
Yeah,
public.
it is not recommended average. That's why I'm saying that because inside the class, whatever property you have defining, it is not recommended to declare as a public because once you declare as a public, anyone can access, anyone can modify, anyone you don't have any control on those properties. That you can make everything is possible, but that is not good approach. That is a good approach. Whatever property you have defined inside a class, declare all those properties as a private, and based on your requirement, you need to define getter setter for those property for accessing and modify the property value. Clear my point?
Okay, then we have to give this getter and
Yes,
setter.
setter. Yes. No?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for each property, you need to define. You initially you have seen yes in customer class, and I have just declared the property, no getter setter define, but that is not good approach. But that is a good approach.
Yes,
Whatever
got it.
property you have, make all those property private. And based on your business requirement, you need to define getter and setter for those property. Public getter setter. Clear to us? So can I go ahead?
Yeah, Ashutosh.
Okay. Now I'm asking one more question. Okay, let me. I have defined one class, employee class. Just give me 1 minute. Therefore, sorry. Now define employee class. In this employee class, I define one property. Okay. Now we have follow all those standards. I guess no. Whatever property we have declared, we need to make those property as a private. Yes, yeah, no. And now I'm defining employee name, e-name. Okay, tell me one question. For each employee having its own employee ID, own name, yes, yeah, no. Suppose we are working in which company? Infogain, yes, no. So your employee ID is different, my employee ID is different, someone employee ID is different, yes, yeah, no. Now every employee having its own employee ID, own name, yes, yeah, no. I'm right, you're not right.
Yes.
Let me define one more property. Company name, guys. Which name? C name is company name. Okay. So suppose I have created 3 instances here. I will show. Then you will get more idea. Look this diagram, and then you will get more clear picture. What concept I'm going to discuss, and why we require that concept. Suppose we have created 3 customers. Sorry, 3 employee object. Let's we are assuming. So each employee having employee ID. Yes, you know, guys. Employee name and company name. Yes, you know. Employee ID, employee name, and now one property, company name. These are 3 property. Now every employee having these are 3 property. Suppose first employee ID is 101 and employee name suppose John and company name is suppose Infogain. Okay, Infogain. Yeah. Now employee ID 102. Employee name suppose Harry. But the company name, this employee also working in the same company, yes, no? Infogain. Now this employee ID is 103. Employee name is a Peter and company is a Infogain. Okay. So guys, here how many objects we have? 3 different objects. Yes, 3 different employees. Yes, no? If you look this diagram, what you will find out here? Anyone can judge here? Yeah, please confirm. Anyone can judge here something?
Employee number should be private.
Any other thing you can judge? No, okay, employee ID, employee name, okay, it's private. But
Company name is similar.
yes,
Yeah.
you can check here. Employee ID and employee name. Variable information is very object to object. Yes, no? But company name information is not varied object to object. If you're asking E1 dot employee ID, you will get value 101. If you're asking E2 dot employee ID, you will get different value. If you're asking E3 dot employee ID, you will get different value. But if you're writing E1 dot company name, yes, no, C name. Yeah, you writing E2 dot, yes, no, company name. Yeah, you're writing E3 dot C name. What you will get, guys? Every time you will get same value. Yes, you know, same information. Yes, you know.
Yeah.
It means this variable contain common information for all instances of a class or not.
Yes.
This means this variable contain common information. But how many times memory will be allocated for this variable? 3 times.
Yeah.
So here we have created 3 objects. So 3 times, suppose if created 1000 object, how many times memory will be allocated? 1000 times.
1000.
But for every instance, information is common. Correct?
Yeah.
So if any variable which contain common information for all object of a class, that variable we have not to declare as an instance variable. That variable we have need to declare as a static variable. Now we understand here, guys, one more variable type of variable, static. We have discussed instance variable. Instance variable means the variable whose value varied object to object. If the value of variable is varied object to object, then that variable we need to make as an instance variable. But if the value of variable is not varied object to object, then we make that variable as a static variable. But what is the advantage of making variable as a static variable? Let's understand. Actually, for a static variable, only one time memory will be allocated at class level. Just like understand, guys, suppose there is a classroom. In the classroom, there are 100 students. How many whiteboard screen required, guys? Anyone can judge? How many whiteboard screen required for all students? For all participants? A projector screen, a whiteboard screen. How many whiteboard screen required for 100 students in a one classroom?
One is enough, right?
One is enough. Yes, you know. One is enough. Yes, no. Why we have not taken 100 screen? For each participant, we have taken different screen. What happened if you taken different screen for each participant? It causes a problem. Yes, you know.
Yeah.
You are not utilizing the memory. You are disutilizing the memory. Actually, here we record only one screen for all participants. Why? Because that screen will contain common information for all participants. Whatever information you have mentioned in that screen, that information is shared to all the participants because that screen contains common information. Now, how many notebook required, guys?
Maybe 100 notebooks, like 100
100
students.
notebook. Yes, because each participant having own notebook. Yes, no.
Yes.
Because notebook not contain common information. Every participant maintaining own notebook. So notebook we need to declare as instance, and notebook is a part of the student. But whiteboard screen will be created at class level, not maintaining at object level. Yes, student level. Once student leave the classroom, all student will not carry the whiteboard along with him or her. Yes, you know. So screen will be maintained at class level. Yes, you know. So it means if any variable which contain common information, that variable we need to declare as a static. Why? Because for a static variable, only one time memory will be allocated at class level. So here's company name is a variable which contain common information. So company name variable we need to declare as static. Sorry. So sorry. Now this variable we need to declare as a static, and now we assign the value infocam. So for a static variable, actually how many time memory will be allocated? Only one time. Now company name we not required to make as instance variable. Yes, you know, company name not required to make as an instance variable. Company name not required to make as instance variable. And all the instance of that class will refer that memory. All instance of class referring that memory. It clear? What the advantage? If you created 1000 object, how many time memory will be allocated for company name? Only one time. Yes, no. Here you're saving the memory. Yes, you know. Yes, you know, guys.
Yeah.
So which variable we need to make as a static? First of all, we need to understand that one. If the value of the variable is not varied object to object, that variable we need to make as a static. Why? Because for static variable, only one time memory will be allocated at class level. An instance variable, guys, for instance variable, memory will be allocated for separate. Yes, for each object, a separate copy will be maintained. Yes, you know. And instance variable is an object level variable, but static variable is known as class level variable. Just like I have given example, classroom example. In classroom, whiteboard. Whiteboard is a class level member. Notebook is a student level member. Yes, you know. So for whiteboard, only one time memory need to be created at class level. An instance variable is an object level variable. So static member you can access without instance also, just by using the class name. Okay, let's understand. So go to the employee class. Employee class, I have declare one variable CNAME. I need to make as static, so we need to use one static keyword. How you can declare variable as static? Using static keyword. So now company name is a instance, static variable. What the value of this static variable? Okay, this variable contain what content? Common information. Yes, you know. So the variable which contain common information. What common information? So static variable you can initialize at the time of declaration also. Yes, you know. Info game. Yes, no. What is the name value of this? So you can initialize static variable at the time of declaration also. An instance variable you have need to initialize where, guys? Inside a constructor. Yes, no. So you can check here. Here we have two instance property, employee ID and employee name. So we need to define and we need to initialize employee ID name inside a constructor. And then you need to define getter setter. You can define getter and setter for accessing those property. Let's we define getter setter for only CID, EID and ename. Now define employee tester. Employee tester class. Okay. I have created, guys, here employee object, which imply employee E1 equal to new employee. What is the employee ID for that? Suppose 101. Employee name, suppose I've given John. Once we create employee, now what my requirement, guys? I need to access employee name and employee ID. So how you can access, guys? Employee ID equal to, if you want to access, so you can access E1 dot get employee ID. System dot out dot println employee name E1 dot get ename. And now we need to access what? Company name, guys. So company name is a static variable. So static variable you can access without instance also, just by using class name. What is the class name, guys? Employee dot, you can check here, CNAME. What the employee name, company name for that employee, you can check here, save it, run it. You can check it. Got it, everyone? Okay. One more thing. Here, static variable, okay. Constructor basically used to initialize object. Yes, no? Static member is a class level member, not object level member. A static variable contain common information for all objects. Static variable you can initialize at that time of declaration also. Okay, that is good. But actually sometimes what happen, guys? Suppose you want to initialize this static variable with some calculation, some code after executing some line of code. Then you want to initialize, yes, no? Because after executing some line of code, you are getting some value, some result. Using that result, you want to initialize that static variable. Then at that time of declarations of static variable, you can't initialize, yes, you know, because here you can't write several line of code at that time of declaration. Yes, yeah, no. I'm right or not right, guys? My point is clear. What my point? Please confirm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, suppose you have some hard coded value, yes, no? You can
Mhm.
directly initialize at that time of declaration, but sometimes you have required some dynamic evaluation. It means after executing some logic, then we want to initialize. Then at that time of declaration, the initialize a static variable, we can't initialize. Then where we need to write object initialization code?
Think we can create a method and then we call.
Sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me,
Yeah,
everyone?
yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you, Ashok.
Oh, there's no. Okay. Okay. So where we need to initialize then static variable. So in Java, we have static block also. So you have static variable. Let's understand. You can make variable as static keyword. You can use at variable label also. You can make variable as static. You can make method as also static. And you can declare block also static. You can declare a block also static. So how you can make a static block? Just like block means just like curly braces open and close. And now this block we need to make as a static. You can use a static key.
Ashutosh, what is the difference between block and method?
Yeah. Okay, understand what the difference between.
Yeah.
Here we define one method. What is the name? Suppose method I given public void M1. What is the name of this method?
M1.
M1. Yes, or you know the name of method.
Yeah.
You can reuse this method any number of times. Yes, no, by calling. Block, I have just opened curly braces. Did you know what is the name of this block?
No.
So this is an anonymous block. Yes, no. You can't reuse that block. Yes, no. You can use at only one time. Yes, no.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an anonymous block, but this is a static anonymous block. Yes, no. So static block, actually what happened, guys? This block gets executed only one time once class is loaded. Okay, let's understand. What means a class loading? Class loading means once you define any class will be saved into hard disk in your secondary memory. Yes, no? Once you're going to run the class needs to be loaded from secondary memory to primary memory. Yes, you know? From which memory? From secondary memory to primary memory. Which memory? Primary memory. From secondary memory to primary memory. When class is loaded from secondary memory to primary memory, that is known as class loading. That is known as class loading. That is known as class loading. So it means once class is loaded, immediately static block of the class gets executed. So if you want to perform only one time activity at the time of class loading, then we should go for static block. When we should go for static block? Tell me, guys. If you want to perform only one time activity at that time of class loading, then we should go for guys.
Static
Then
block.
we static block. Clear? I hope it's clear. So it means any code that you need to execute only one time, only at the time of class loading. I will give one more clear picture, then you will get more. Just like you have seen ATM machine, yes, no? In the ATM machine, once suppose software is loaded in this machine, so when you visit the ATM machine, in the ATM machine, you have seen the ATM screen, yes, you know? In the ATM screen, some menu is loaded, yes, you know? Some option is loaded, yes, you know? So this ATM screen, when we need to load, guys, whenever new user comes, every time screen need to be loaded, yeah, only one time screen needs to be loaded. Tell me. Screen loading logic needs to be right on how many times? Every time whenever a user interacting with ATM machine, yeah, only one time.
Load will be one time. But
Yeah.
performance is different.
Functionality. Suppose we have multiple options. Yes, no, withdraw, balance inquiry. Yes, no.
Yeah.
That action you need to perform object level. That is the difference. Yes, no. But
Yeah.
screen loading required to execute only one time. So that logic we need to place under static block. So just like suppose I have declared one static variable. So static variable you can initialize inside the static block also. Yes or no? In program. And now I'm writing some statement. You can check which block gets executed first. Static block. Okay, tell me guys, you have static block and constructor. Which one first gets executed?
Static block.
Yes, because constructor when executed when instance of the class is created. Yes, you know. Once class is loaded, yes, no, into the memory, and then after loading, loaded class object will be created, and then constructor will get executed. But static block gets executed first because the static block gets executed immediately once class is loaded. Now, if you run it, you can check here, guys. You can check first one static block gets executed, then constructor, yes, no, and this is the information first. I hope it's clear what is the static variable in a static block.
Yeah.
Ashutosh,
So you, yeah, hi.
is static block is executed first, then main method execute, right?
Yeah, main is a method. Method will invoke when you call the method, yes or no? But a static block when executed, static block gets executed once class is loaded. Actually, main method will invoke by the JVM, yes or no? But
Yeah.
when JVM will invoke once class is loaded into primary memory, because a program running on primary memory, yes no? So once class is loaded, immediately what happened, guys? Immediately which one is executed? Static block gets executed. So that's why before main method is also static block gets executed. Yes, yeah, no? Yes, yeah, no? Okay, we'll show. Watch here, guys. In this class, I'm written any code? I'm not writing any code, yes, no? But I'm writing here system.out.println static block. I'm just writing a static block. You can check it. Once you run this class, you can check it, guys. What executed?
Ashutosh, if we add one more static class, like multiple static blocks.
Yeah, you can add n number of static block. Your choice.
Okay. So
Now
it
next
will
question you are asking
execute.
which one executed first? Yes, no?
Correct.
Yeah, I will show. You can place n number of static block. Now which one gets executed first? In which order you are defining? You can check here. In the same order, static block gets executed.
Okay, so if I add like 10th in the first time and first in the last, then it will execute 10th one first.
Yes.
Okay.
In which order you're defining? In that order, static block gets executed. It's clear to all? You can check here if you're writing here main statement, suppose. So now you can check here.
And we can add static block anywhere in the class, right? Like after
Yeah,
method.
anywhere. Yeah, anywhere. Within a class, anywhere you can place.
Okay.
Within a class, anywhere. I hope it's clear now.
Yes, it's clear.
Any other question, anyone? Yeah, you have any question, please ask.
Ashutosh, you told like static block will be executed only once while the
Yes.
running.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we put a static block one as you mentioned here, and after the main method we again defined static block 3.
So this is a
So will it
one. Yeah,
execute?
I understand. Yeah, this is a different static block. Yes, no? You can define n number of different, but one static block executed how many times? Only one time, yes, no? Because once class is loaded inside this class, whatever static block is you define, all the static block going to execute one by time, only one time, yes, no? So this static block executed how many times? Only one time. This static block executed how many times? One time. Yes, you know? And you define one more static block that is a different static block, yes, you know? That gets executed only one time, yes, you know?
Okay.
Clear my
But
point?
if we define this after this main method, means
Yeah, you can
below
define
this.
anywhere. Oh, okay, I will show. It's not matter where you're defining inside above main method, yeah, below main method, yes, no? It's not matter. You can
Okay.
define anywhere, yes, no? It will scan all the static block. If you run it, you can check here. You can check here. Yes, you know?
Got it.
Clear? Any other question, anyone? If anyone have any question, please ask. It's clear?
Yes.
Okay, so here we take 10-minute break, yes, no? And then we'll continue. It's fine to all?
Yeah.
Okay, after 10 minutes, we will continue, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Hello everyone. Can you hear me? Welcome back. Yeah, I'm audible. True all. Please confirm.
Yes.
Okay. So welcome back everyone. Okay, so here we discuss static variable, static block. So static members is a class level member, okay? And instance variable is a object level member. So you can declare variable as static, you can make method also static, and you can make block also static. So one more interesting point I'm going to discuss here. You have just declared here anonymous block. This is open curly braces, close curly braces, known as anonymous block. This is anonymous block. You can check it, guys. So I'm just writing instance block 1. So that block is known as instance block. If you declare a block without static modifier, that is known as instance block. So instance block actually, guys, when gets executed, you can check it, guys. Okay, let me. You can check it. Static block gets executed. Instance block where gets executed. Okay, 1 minute. I will show one more demo, different class, then you will get more clear picture. I'm going to define here class demo class. Demo is already adjusted. So I give the class name like test demo. Test demo. Inside this test demo, I define a static block also. This is a static block. A static block, guys. One. And then we define an instance block without modify writing, that is not the instance block. Instance block 1. Instance block. And then we're defining a constructor also, guys. Test demo constructor. So you can check here. Okay, one by one point you need to understand constructor. So static block, if you run this class directly, so everyone know static block gets executed only one time at that time of class loading. Once class is loaded, static block gets executed. But instance block gets not executed. And constructor gets executed once create the instance. Let's I create one instance for test demo. Test demo. Once we create the instance for that class, then what happens? You can check it, guys. If you create the instance for that class, then instance block gets executed and constructor gets executed. So it means instance block executed when, guys, when instance block when executed, yeah, object.
creation. Okay, so
Constructor.
one more question I have.
Yes, yes.
So, is it mandatory to create a constructor for instance block, or
No, not mandatory. This is your
okay?
requirements. Yes, no. If required instance block constructor, it's not mandatory. Yes, no. If you want to remove this constructor, you can remove it. Okay. You can check here. Instance block is different, constructor is different. Constructor, but both are executed at the time of object creation. Yes, no.
Got it.
First instance block gets executed, then constructor.
Yeah.
But here one question you can ask, then what the advantage? Constructor code we can write inside instance block also.
Yes, true.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
This is advantage, and both are different thing, and both are different uses also. I will show here. I have defined here constructor person classes, no? And now I'm defining instance block. But suppose we require some common logic, common code. Before creating the instance of the object, we want to create person. Suppose I want to print person block. But this code needs to be executed whenever instance of the class is. But here person class code, guys, you can check here. When we create new person, we need to pass different data. Let's comment this right now. We remove this line. And now tomorrow I will create new person. I require to supply same data or different data. I want to execute with this data. Better. Oh, sorry. So constructor actually, guys, you can check here. Used to execute. You have constructor overloading concept. That part we will discuss also. But instance block actually used to execute any common logic that you want to execute. You can check person block, yes, no? Suppose if you want to execute some common type logic for every instance, yes, no, that code you can place inside the instance block. Constructor, you can use specific code for instance. But instance block doesn't take any parameter also, yes, you know. Just like here you can define pass a parameter also, something, yes, no. Got at my point?
Yeah, got it.
Ashutosh, I have a doubt. Like,
Yes, sure.
yeah. So person block, if we define whatever the code that we need to execute before the constructor
Constructor,
on,
yes.
yeah. If we write this person block line before this super keyword only, or after this super keyword, so it will
Okay.
every time execute. So what
It
we
will
need
give
to,
error. It will give error. Actually,
which
what is
error?
the use of? I will show. So, what is the use of super? Yes, no. I have not discussed yet. Yes, no. We will discuss in the inheritance. What is the use super? Yes, no. Before super, you can't write any line. Super should be first line of the constructor.
Okay,
If you
after
try,
the after super keyword.
yeah, after super you can write any code. Yes, no.
Yeah. So if we write this person block line here,
Yeah.
so at the time of every time at the time of object
Yes.
creation, we got this code, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yes. You actually. Yeah. Okay. What the difference between instance block and constructor? You're asking basically. Yes, no. Actually, instance block. Actually, we can define more than one constructor also. We have constructor overloading. What is the constructor overloading? Let's understand first, then you will get more idea. Constructor overloading means defining more than one constructor. Actually, suppose you define one class demo. In this demo class, I will explain here. I define suppose one class animal. Yes, no? Animal. Inside animal class, I've defined one constructor. This is a zero parameterized constructor. I've defined one more constructor. Can you define one constructor? Can we define more than one constructor? We can't define. We will get error. Which error? Duplicate error. Which error? Duplicate.
Yeah.
Yes, no?
But we can
Because
pass different parameters.
yeah. But if you want to define more than one constructor, yeah, we can define using constructor overloading technique. What is the constructor overloading? Constructor overloading is allowed to define more than one constructor with the same name, but signature should be different. Signature what consists, guys? Signature consists number of parameter, order of parameter, and type of parameter. So suppose I define one constructor with zero parameterized constructor. Now I'm define one constructor with parameterized constructor. Suppose I'm passing a string name. Suppose something we passing. So you can check here. Here now you have two constructor. One constructor, yes, no. This constructor is which one, guys? This constructor which one? Zero parameterized. Yes, you know. I'm right.
Yeah.
Zero parameterized constructor. And this one constructor which one?
Parameterized constructor.
Single parameter. Yes, no. Single parameter. Okay, now you will get more idea whatever you have question. Single parameter. Now we have defined one more constructor. So sorry. with two parameter, string name and now string color. So you can check, yes, this constructor is a double parameterized. So it means we can define more than one constructor with the same name, but signature should be different. Signature means number of parameter. You can check it. First, this constructor takes 0 parameter, this constructor takes 1 parameter. It means number of parameters may be different. Yeah, type of parameter, yeah, order of parameter. If at least one thing is different, then signature is different. Okay, I'm defining main method here. Now you can check here. Suppose I'm creating one animal instance. I want to create one animal instance, animal1 equal to new animal. This instance I want to create with 0 parameterized constructor. So here you can create animal object three different way. You can create animal object by passing 0 parameter. So which one constructor will invoke? This signature will match with which one constructor? First one. Yes, you know. Yes, you know. So you can check it, guys. 0 parameters constructor will invoke. Yes, you know. Okay. Now I'm creating one object animal2 equal to new. Sorry. 1 minute, please. Okay. New animal. I'm passing some name. Suppose I'm passing animal dog. Suppose something, whatever name. So tell me, guys, which one constructor will invoke? Which one? Now signature match to which one constructor? Second one, yes.
Second one, yeah.
So you can check here. You are executing some specific logic for this object, yes or no? Now what is the output is come? Single parameter, yes or no? Now I'm creating one more object. Animal. Okay, I give name like animal3, animal2 equal new animal. And now I'm writing suppose cow. So now which logic gets executed, guys? A different logic executed. This constructor will invoke. Yes, you know. Now my requirement, I require some common line for each instance of the class where we need to place. Tell me, guys. Now in this case, I want to execute animal. Yes, no. Hello animal, just like. So where we need to place that common line. That line needs to be executed before once object is created. That line needs to be executed. Tell me where we need to place. In that case, instance block is helpful, yes, you know.
Yeah, correct.
Because if you placing inside first one, yes, no, what happened? For every object will not invoke, yes, no. If you create instance using 0 parameter, that line only gets executed. But if you create the instance using single parameter or double parameter, then that lines will not get executed. So it means my requirement, I want to execute this line every time whenever you create the instance. This is a common logic, yes, you know, for each instance, yes, you know. So that is a better. You can check hello animal, hello animal, hello. That logic we have need to place inside instance block. Now you can tell me, guys, that is a better. Can you place this code inside here, inside any one of the constructor? That is a better or not better?
Yeah, it's better.
If you place here, so you will not able to fulfill your requirement. Yes, you know, because if you create the instance.
Yeah, if you place there, it will allow only one time for that particular.
Yes, yes. If you create instance only using 0 parameter, then only this line gets executed. Otherwise, will not execute it. But my requirement, if you create any animal type instance, then every time this line needs to be executed, then you can fulfill that requirement using instance block. Then we should go for instance block.
Yeah, got it.
Clear to all? Someone is asking which, please confirm. Are you?
Yes. Got it.
Yes. This is the difference between constructor and instance block. Okay. Now I'll go to the test demo. Okay, I'm removing these lines. So you have seen static variable, static block. Now you can define a static method also, guys. So how you can define? Check here, guys. I'm defining here using static keyword. Just you need to write a static keyword. I'm defining one method M1, and this method is a static method. Is out. M1 is a static. Which one? M1 is a static. And here we define one more method, guys. M2. Void M2. M2 is not static. Yes, no? It is non-static member. Non-static member. M2 is non-static member. M2 is non-static member. So M1 is a static member. M2 is non-static member. So M1 and M2 we have two methods. M1 is a static. M2 is non-static. So main is also static. Yes, you know. Your main method is also static. So you can check here. Main and M1 both belongs to the same class or different class. Both belong to the same class, yes, no?
Yeah.
So can we call M1 directly from the main method? Yeah, you can call. You can check here. So static member you can call directly from one static method to another static method if both belong to the same class. Yeah, you can call using directly. Yeah, you can call static member just by using the class name also. What the class name? Test demo dot M1. Yes, you know. You can check here. M1 is static. And next thing, guys. If you call M2 method, can you call M2?
No, we have to
From
create
main?
an object.
Yeah, you can check you are not able to call. If you try to call, you will get error. So this is non-static member. One rule you need to keep in your mind. From static area, you can't invoke any non-static member directly. Either they belong to the same class or different class, doesn't matter. From static area, you can't invoke any non-static member directly. Either they are belonging to the same class or different class, doesn't matter. So whenever you want to invoke, first of all, you need to create the instance for that class. Only using instance of the class you can invoke. Yes, you know. So create the instance, then you can access only. I hope it's clear my point. Now you can save as run and you can test. I hope it's clear to all.
Yeah.
Any question in your mind, you can ask. So what is object? What is a class? Yes, no. What is a constructor? Constructor overloading. This keyword. Static member, static variable, static method, static block, instance block, getter and setter. This keyword.
So we can call by using instance, we can call M1 also, right?
Yeah, static member you can call using object also and without object also.
Object.
Both.
Yeah.
You can check obj.m1 also. Yes, no? You can access.
Yeah.
But it is always recommended to access static member using class name. It is a recommended. Yes, no? Whenever you want to access static member anywhere, it is always recommended to access static member using class name.
Is there any reason why if we call
Yeah,
object dot?
Yeah, yes. Why? Because static. Okay. Why we recommended? It is not give any error if you calling using object. The recommendation, the reason is for that recommendation, static member is a class level member. Yes, no? Just like whiteboard, if you're talking about whiteboard in the classroom. So whiteboard is created at class level. Yes, no? Suppose BTech class is going on, MTech class is going on. So which whiteboard? BTech class whiteboard. If you're calling using parties student, na, just like Rohan dot whiteboard is not recommended. Yes, no? You can call, but it is not a good approach. Yes, no? Which whiteboard? BTech class dot whiteboard. Yes, no? It's more recommended. It's clear?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. One more thing. Which one? Okay. Let me discuss here. Employee class I've created. Suppose I've created one simple student class. Okay. And student class contains two property. Yes, no? String name and int roll number. And suppose you're defining a constructor, you can generate constructor source, generate constructor using field. Let's here define main method also in the same class, main method. Now we create the student class object. Suppose student s1 equal to new student. One minute. New student. I'm passing the name, suppose John, and imply a student ID 101. So S1 is a reference variable. What happened when you print the S1 reference variable? If you print S1 is a reference variable. You have seen it will display class name at the rate hexadecimal code. Yes, you know. Actually, when you're printing S1 reference, any reference variable name, on that reference variable, one method will invoke implicitly. If you're not calling, then compiler will call implicitly using toString method. So you can check if you run this class, you will get the same output. There is no change. Yes, no? But you have seen there's no toString method available in your class. Then how you can invoke and it not give any error? Yes, or no? There is any toString method available in your class? No.
No.
Yes, or no? So then how you can invoke? Why is not giving error? Actually, the reason is that in Java, we have one class with name object. Which class? O is a capital. Yes, no? Object is the super class for every Java class. Whether you are inheriting or not inheriting. If you define any class, by default, that class is inheriting which one? Object class. So object class will provide several common features which is applicable for all objects in Java. In object class, we have one method, toString method. Which method, guys? toString. You can check here. toString method available inside which class? You can see there is a toString method. And now this toString method is available in which class? You can check your class name is a which class? Object class. Yes, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. An object class actually toString. Okay, let me. You can check it. It written which type value? String type. Which type? String type. So it means if you want to represent object in the string form, representation of object in string form, you can check here. This method return a string representation of the object. What return? String representation. By default, actually, toString method is implemented in object class in this way. It return class name at the rate their hexadecimal code, their memory address. But suppose your requirement, I want to provide own implementation. Yes, no? Then what you need to, then you can define toString method in your class. You can override, yes, no? And you can provide own implementation. So what you want to return, how you want to represent this object in string form. So suppose I'm just writing hello. I'm whatever your choice, yes, no? So whenever you try to print S1 reference variable of this student class, it will what? It will return in string form. What written, guys? Hello. Yes, yeah, no. Whether you're calling or not calling, it will invoke implicitly. Yes, you know. ToString method will invoke implicitly on that reference variable. So ToString method is used for string representation of an object. So suppose my requirement, I am generating ToString method here. When someone tried to print S1 reference variable, I want to display that student detail. So now if you run it, now you can check here, guys, what it will print. It will display in this string format. It's clear. So ToString method used to return string representation of an object. If you want to represent object in string form, then you can use ToString method. Any questions? Any doubt? Anyone have any question? You can ask. Yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah, Ashutosh. This keyword is a static member, right? Or
Which one?
non-static member?
Which one?
This,
Which one?
this.
This. Okay. This is a static and non-static. This is a reference. Yes, no. Not actually. It holds the object reference. Yes, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is not a class label. Yes, no. It pointing to object. Yes, no.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
So ToString is also clear. What the use of ToString? If you
Yes,
want
yes.
to, if you want to return string representation object, yes, no. So you can define ToString method and you can write string, whatever string representation, in which string representation you want to represent, you can write. And once you display, try to access reference variable, print reference variable. So ToString method implicitly will invoke on that reference variable, whether you are invoking or not invoking. Yes, you know. What the object class? What the object class? Anyone have any idea?
Parent class of any Java.
Yes, in Java, we have one predefined class object, which is a superclass for every Java. Yes, no, every Java class. Whether your class is a user defined or predefined, not matter. I hope you will get some idea today session. So I'm recommended to all, if you don't have setup, so please, before coming to tomorrow class, install all this required software. I have also mentioned in chat, you require to install JDK 11, at least JDK 11, and Eclipse IDE you required.
So IntelliJ also helpful, right?
Yeah,
Ashutosh?
IntelliJ is also helpful. No issue with IntelliJ. If you have IntelliJ, you can use IntelliJ also. No issue.
Okay.
If you have already IntelliJ, yes, so you can write code right now in IntelliJ also. No issue. But who don't have JDK, first of all, they need to install the JDK. Yes, no, then need to install IDE. So please connect with ISS team if you don't have JDK, because they need to set the path, for that required admin. Yes, no. Username, password, so they will install in your system. Yes, no. If you don't have admin access, if you have admin access, then you can set the path. Yes, no. If you don't have admin access, then you need to connect with ISS team. Yes, no. Any questions, any doubt? If you have, you can ask. So one more thing we can do here. If you suggest, then I can do. So I will share some assignment with you also, yes? Whatever today, just like you have learned, based on that, I have share some assignment. So you can do more practice. That will helpful for you, yes, you know?
Yes, you can give us
Yes.
assignment. Yeah.
Okay, I will share, yes, no? So you can do more practice also. Okay, so here we bind up the session, okay? And tomorrow we will meet and we will discuss other concepts.
Thank you, Ashutosh.
Okay, thank you everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye everyone. Thank you.